headed down to Guatemala on a whim. A friend of mine had been living there for several years and was leaving soon, so I promised to come down before he left. Not sure of what to expect, I set myself up for a nice, relaxing trip full of peaceful siestas under the warm afternoon sun. 10 days later, I'd hiked a volcano, road trip to a volcanic lake, ridden a horse through a small village, and climbed the tallest temples of the once mighty Mayan kingdom. I did get one nap in during the trip. It was on the flight home. Prior to the 18th century, Antigua was the political, economic, and cultural capital of Central America until July 29, 1773, when a massive earthquake leveled the city. After that, the capital was moved up the road to Guatemala City. But if you come to Antigua today, you can still see remnants of its glorious past. Seriously, there are like building ruins all over the place here. It's like Detroit or something. Easily the most famous landmark in Antigua is the Arco de Santa Catalina. This was built as part of a monastery in the 17th century so that nuns could cross the street without anybody seeing them. Now if you cross the street, you'll see what's being built as a new McDonald's. One thing that's annoying about Antigua is that it is simply crawling with gringos, which is okay. You're just gonna have to try a little harder to get off the beaten path. And try not to stick out as much. I mean, what's with the fanny packs? Do not wear fanny packs in any situation, unless you're an EMT. Antigua is surrounded by three major volcanoes, Acatenango, Fuego, and Agua. All three of which you can hike with varying levels of danger, from volcanic activity, mudslides, and even armed bandits, which always makes the hike interesting. And on that note, time for a hike. Near Antigua is Pacaya, an active volcano that rises over 8,300 feet above sea level. The hike begins in a picturesque, wooded area at the base of the volcano. Who brought their dog along? The landscape quickly gives way to a bleak, black terrain that has a familiar tinge to it. Interesting terrain. It kind of reminds me of parts of Brooklyn. Hey look, a hole with scalding hot steam coming out. Matt, you should definitely take your tour guide's advice and climb in. Actually, not too bad. And in reward, me and my new friend are presented with freshly roasted marshmallows. Now I know why he tagged along. You should remember that Volcano Pacaya is an active volcano, so it could basically erupt at any moment and vaporize you, which is kind of cool if you think about it, right? One of the best places to visit in Guatemala, and probably one of the most beautiful, is Lake Atitlan. It's about 3 hours away from Antigua. You start off in a town called Pana, or some people call it Gringo Tenango, and you can take a boat and head to one of the many towns around the lake. The most popular are San Pedro and San Marcos. And if there's anything I learned from this trip, it's kind of like spring break. Whatever happens on Lake Atitlan stays on Lake Atitlan. Sorry, I was having a moment there. I'm back now. Lake Atitlan was formed about 2 million years ago when a massive volcano blew its top off. The lake was created in its remnants, and today there are numerous small villages along its shores. San Pedro, on its western end, is a laid-back village home to an assortment of backpackers, burnt-out hippies, Spanish-language schools, and a few unhappy horses that were game to show me and a few friends around town after a little prodding. What a great way to get around town. If only I could go to work this way. I would maybe smell a bit, but I'd clearly be the coolest commuter in New York every morning.
Eu convoco a lua cheia pra iluminar.
So apparently the power is out in all of Antigua, which means our bus can't run. What one actually has to do with the other, I'm not exactly sure. Turns out it had something to do with an expired registration and powerless computers. Soon enough, we were back on the road heading north. 10 hours later, we arrived in Pitan, the northernmost department of Guatemala. What was once arid, brown highlands was now rolling hills and thick, lush jungle. Oh yes, I think I will check out that hammock before moving on to the final leg of the trip, Tikal. The best views of Tikal, you usually have to leave Flores by 4:30 so you can get to the temples by 5:30 in the morning, so you get the best views of the temple and the sunrise. Or in our case, fog for as far as the eye could see. Man, this is a strange place. Bread-eating crocodiles, the raccoon-like coati, and frighteningly enough, hordes of tarantulas. Please, oh god, what is our guide doing? I'm going to be very aware of my surroundings today. Tikal was the capital of the Mayan Empire, which ruled the region throughout most of the first millennium. The city itself spans over 6 square miles and was home to about 3,000 structures. Today you can explore the handful of temples that have been uncovered, most notably the Temple of the Great Jaguar of 2012 Apocalypse fame. The temple is actually a giant monument for the tomb that was built inside of it for the 7th century ruler Jasa Chan Kowil. What's really interesting about Tikal is that it's estimated that about 80% of the city still hasn't been uncovered. So as you walk around the park, you'll see mounds of dirt, and those are actually temples or other complexes that haven't been dug out yet. The finale comes in the form of Temple 4. Yes, Star Wars nerds, part of Episode 4 was in fact filmed here. Towering over the jungle at 212 feet, the temple offers unparalleled views into the distance. I said goodbye to Guatemala from here. Happy that I saw so much, glad I never had time for that siesta.